Hey guys, yeah, so sorry about that. We had some technical issue. It's a new platform that we're trying out, so there was some issue with the screen share, but I think we fixed it now. Thank you all for joining back. Um, and yeah, we can quickly wrap up the session. We're only a couple more slides away. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to drop it in the chat. But yeah, I was essentially just showing you guys that we all we had to do to deploy this program is run node sdk slash deploy.js, and we've been given interaction hash. One more thing I forgot to mention earlier is that we're importing the manifest from flipper.json. So it's this manifest that's been compiled earlier, and um, yeah, that's essentially what is being represented as a logic ID over here, and this is fully deployed on chain. Um, then we have an interaction hash, which let me share my other screen. Open. Yes, I'm opening Voyage, and this is what I was showing earlier. So this manifest is the same one we compiled and showed earlier. It has the init function that we deployed, and yeah, that's essentially how you deploy a manifest. And let me go back to the other screen. And yeah, similarly, if you want to deploy, if you want to use like mutate the state on chain, right? You don't have to have this on a separate uh, like file, but I've just done that just for ease of understanding. So if I want to essentially like use the flip function and mutate state on chain, what I would do is first thing I need is the logic ID. So you store the logic ID of your deployment that you get over here. You store it on it in a securely stored in a .env file, which I'm going to do just by, yeah, I'm not going to share my screen because that has my private key in it, but you store your logic ID securely on chain. And yeah, so now we have the flip.js function, which is essentially used to deploy the flip function. Similarly, we're going to use void. We're going to use a void provider class, the wallet class, which is two classes we used before already, and we're going to use get logic driver. So logic driver is what takes your logic ID and essentially binds that with your like your wallet, your signature, and sends that particular transaction on chain, like mutates a particular state on chain. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do node sdk slash flip.js. And also when you deploy the previous function, it sets the default value as true. Now I'm going to run mode, which is the same. It's almost the same logic as flip. In terms of deployment, you use the same get logic driver class, you bind it with your wallet, and you make that call. So when I do node sdk mode.js, it shows me false. Now I'll show you guys one more time to flip. And finally mode. Now it should show me true. There you go. So all of these interactions are happening on chain, and I can show you the exact the proof of that as well. So if I copy this interaction hash and I go to Voyage over here, I go to the Explorer, I paste my interaction hash, it'll show me the interaction that just happened. So it shows that's a success. This is the hash. If I go to operations, it shows that actually the call site was flip, and it's the exact same logic ID that we used to deploy earlier. And it will also show me who are the participants involved. So yeah, that's essentially how deploying on my works. Any questions until this point? Okay, I'm just going to go back to the presentation. So this is essentially what we did. We deployed Flipper. We verified the deployment on Voyage, and now the last thing we're going to do this session, and this is just a quick sneak peek for those who are blockchain enthusiasts out there. Um, this is a very unique feature that's only on MOI. Assets at the protocol level. So one thing you need to know about Ethereum is the fact that every time you create a new asset or a new token, right? So suppose I create Adi coin, or like if I create MOI token or whatever on Ethereum, just deploying ERC20 contract. All these contracts are just kind of replicas, or just like um they are just, their existences are only within the smart contract level itself. They don't have um like any recognition within protocol level, meaning anything that goes wrong with the asset, or anything that's malicious about the smart contract representing the asset, the users are the ones who take the fall of it at the end. Whereas you'll never see a token like Ethereum, sorry, an asset like Ethereum, or an asset like Solana, or an asset like Matic on Polygon ever be the victim of a honeypot attack or like a serious malicious smart contract hack. And the reason for that is very simple. It's the fact that these three assets are native tokens to their protocols. ETH is a native token of Ethereum, it's a native store of value there. Matic is the same for Polygon, and SOL, Solana, is the same for Solana, right? And these aren't represented by smart contracts, which is why nobody can actually hack them per se. These are all native assets that are at the protocol level, stored directly at Ethereum code level. And that's where the state is managed. Now, imagine you had that for every single asset. Every single asset represents it, does it the same way. That's the kind of support we provide on Moi. I'm going to show you guys a quick demo of a simple asset deployment, but we'll get more into this uh, in the next session, which is going to be next week. So we have asset.js, and one more really cool thing about this is the fact that you don't have to deploy a single smart contract anymore for assets. Now, what that essentially goes on to mean is um, you don't need to, the cost of auditing is massively reduced, just because the vulnerability is not in the hands of the developers. I mean, to a certain extent it still is, but the actual operations that are managed, like minting, transferring, burning the token, these all happen at the protocol level, not written by the rules of some developer. So this is obviously there are a lot of error handlings over here, but the main important point is that we're calling the voyage provider class again wallet class. These two classes you're pretty much going to call in every program, because this connects to the network, and this helps you sign your transactions. One more quick point I want to make is that we have multiple different asset classes within MOI. We have MAS0, which is your fungible tokens, MAS1, which is non-fungible tokens, MAS2, which is like a semi-fungible token that we can get into in future. And we also have MASX, which is like your custom asset standard. So you can set your own rules. You can actually create your own assets and still have them be deployed natively. You can set your own rules. Um, which is a very powerful feature that we'll get to soon. Now, what I'm going to do is I've set my mint amount to be 100,000. Sorry, I've yeah. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm creating the actual asset. This is just a SDK call. I'm signing with my wallet. The token's name is webinar token. Um, I'm signing up. I'm kind of creating 1 million of those, and yeah. So now what happens is this call is all you need to do to create the asset. And I'm also going to be minting some of these tokens back to my account, just to show you how quick it actually is, quick and effective. So first thing I'm going to do is node sdk slash asset dot js. Yep, there we go. So it shows the manager's ID, which is me. This is my public ID. This is the asset ID, which is something that's uniquely linked to the asset. We'll get more into that in future episode, in the next session. And this is also the interaction hash of the minting process that's actually happened to me. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take this interaction hash and oh, my screen's gone again. I'm going to take this interaction hash. I'm going to go to Voyage and I'm going to paste it here. Yep, there you go. You can see the operation payload. The asset standard is MA0. Symbol token is the webinar token, and I've created a million supply. Now at the same time, I've also done a minting operation, which the interaction hash of that would be this. Yep, this is the interaction hash for the mint. It shows the call size mint, the same asset ID, and the last thing I want to show you guys is something really cool. Asset playground. If I go to transfer, I can select my token. This is the most recently minted webinar token for me, so I can transfer this to anyone. So for those who listen into the session today, as kind of like a proof of participation, if you guys send over your public address to me on the Discord, I will transfer over some webinar tokens to you. But yes, for the most part, that's the end of the session. I'm happy to take any questions at this point. Mint operation deterministic across validators. Once again, you asked a very good question that I feel like I know the answer of, but I don't want to give you the wrong answer. Sorry, one second. Kishore, if you could do me a favor and drop both of your questions onto the Discord, I will find you the best answer possible from there. So yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? Um, this is just a simple getting started session. Thank you so much for bearing with me through the technical difficulties. This is obviously the first session. Now that we've learned it, it'll be a lot smoother next time. But going forward, we'll learn about assets, we'll learn about logics, and finally, we will also be able to ship our own agents on MOI, which is going to be a really, really cool session. Be sure to join our Discord. I'm going to drop the link in the chat below. Be sure to join our Discord. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it from my side. Thank you so much for joining. And once again, thanks for bearing with me through the technicalities. Have a nice day, everyone. Take care.